Hello and welcome to Poor Unfortunate Rolls, where those of us at Geekwave play Monster of the Week. My name is Aspen, I use they, them pronouns, and I will be your keeper, which is the game master in Monster of the Week. Here at Geekwave, I am a member of the video team. I've worked as an editor and appeared on various podcasts, which now includes this one. Before we begin, let's go around the table and introduce the players, or hunters, for this episode. Please say your name, pronouns if you'd like to share, and your role here at Geekwave, or plug a project that you're working on, maybe your Instagram shop or your commissions or something like that, whatever you'd be comfortable with. Let's go around. Let's start with you.
Yeah. So I'm Jackson. Those that have listened to podcasts, I'm usually, or at least Geekwave podcasts, I'm usually on all of them. I am Geekwave director. I do some of the writing as well. Stuff to shout out is mostly Geekwave stuff. I'm working on my capstone game development project, so
Nice.
keep an eye out for that at the end of the year. But yeah, and I use he, him pronouns.
Cool. Thank you.
My name is Caitlin. I am a writer at Geekwave. I use she, her pronouns. And I do some podcasts occasionally, and I'm excited to get started.
Hi, my name is Portia. I'm new to Geekwave. I am just an independent artist living every day the best I can. You can find me on Instagram at Portia_J on most social media platforms. And today I'm going to play Maze, and my pronouns are she, her.
Cool. Thank you all.
Now that everyone has introduced themselves, I, Aspen from the future, would like to take a quick moment to say a few thank yous. We recorded this session as sort of an episode 0. Not really sure if we would release it, but we still wanted to do a test run to figure out microphones and such. Even given the hiccups, we all had a blast. The players have assured me of that, and the session turned into quite a charming little adventure. So, we decided to share with you all, and I'd like to thank everyone who made this episode possible. First, I'd like to thank the hunters who you just met. Without them, there wouldn't have been a session, so thanks for trusting me as your keeper. I'd like to thank Michael Sands, the creator of the Monster of the Week system we are playing. It's a great tabletop RPG, very easy to learn, easy to teach, and a lot of fun to play. Next, I'd like to thank the various graphic designers and artists who helped put together the visuals you are looking at and made this all feel very official. Thank you, Edwin, for the fantastic logo design. Thank you, Sarah, for the variation of the logo, which will change for each episode with a new monster silhouette based on the creature the hunters face. Thank you, Ava, for the beautiful video layout. And thank you, Portia, for the wonderful character designs, which will be fully revealed as they are introduced. Lastly, I'd like to give a personal thank you to my fruit salad of online friends. It's mentioned in the episode, but we recorded on September 22nd, which happens to be both Bilbo and Frodo's birthdays, but also the date when I came out to my parents 3 years ago. My friends are the ones who helped me get from where I was then to where I am now, and I couldn't have done any of this without them. Love you all. And with that, I'll pass it back to Aspen in the past for the rest of the episode. Thank you for listening.
So let's go ahead and dive into the Session 0 and Session 1 of the show. And here's what that means. A Session 0 is a chance for the Keeper and Hunters to get together, learn the rules, and make their characters. While the Session 1 is where we dive into actual play and see where the story takes us. For the listeners joining us, we are a mix of experienced and new players. I myself have been a Dungeon Master of various Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition games, however this is my first time as Keeper of a Monster of the Week game. Some of our hunters have played Monster of the Week or other tabletop role-playing games before, while others have not. So, we are all in this learning experience together. And whether you are a well-traveled listener or brand new in this with us, don't worry, I hope to make this as painless as possible. And also a good learning experience for those who hope to play Monster of the Week for themselves. So, let's try to do just that. Let's begin with a general overview of the setting and rules. Just enough to get us started, and the rest we will learn along the way together. Does that sound good to everyone?
Sounds great.
Cool. Great, let's start with the setting then. Our setting is our modern world. However, fantasy exists. Fantasy species and creatures roam the earth. Geography is similar but teeming with magic, and what we call the extra normal exists without question. If you were to travel to the Grand Canyon, you might see a giant flying red dragon, much like Dinral in Breath of the Wild. If you were to travel to the Great Dismal Swamp, you might find a sentient, interconnected root system of trees, much like an Avatar of the Last Airbender. If you hear screaming from your neighbor's house in the middle of the night, they could very well be possessed by a ghost.
Tally.
And that is where you come in. You are all monster hunters who work for Waveco, which, thanks to Stefan for coming up with the acronym, stands for Weapons Against Violent Extra-Normals. Who is supposed to investigate the screaming in the night and possible possession? You are. That is your job. Since that is your job, this game and show will have mild fantasy horror, violence, and gore. However, I don't tend to be too heavy with my descriptions or villains or monsters, so it's fairly safe, but also keep that in mind. In this game, since our setting is the modern world, you may make up a character to play, or you may play as yourself, but with special monster hunting abilities. I am also saying you can play as yourself because I know some of us are new to this, so role-playing it might be easier or harder to play a character or as play yourself. Either is a good option. Regardless of what you choose, there are various player handbooks, which you've already kind of looked through, and they are basically character archetypes that you choose from to create your character. As for what your character looks like, if they are human, a fantasy species, their name, how they act, etc., all of that is up to you. We will go over the player handbooks in just a moment, but first, we'll go over the basic rules and general flow of the game. Are there any questions so far? Feeling content. All right.
Killing it.
So here's how the game works. Most role-playing games, including Monster of the Week, are a collaborative storytelling experience. I, as the keeper, set up a scene or scenario, then you, as the hunters, react to that scene. For example, I might set up a scene by describing you are all traveling in a heavily fogged, wooded area in which you are lost in. Then you might react to the scene by saying, I'd like to climb a tree to perhaps break the overgrowth and gain a bearing on where we are. Or, I'd like to survey the surrounding area for game trails or tracks that might lead us toward water or civilization. Based on what you would like to do, I then ask you to make a dice roll. The result of the dice roll will tell me whether you succeed or fail at what you are trying to achieve. Then I will reset the scene based on what happens, and the cycle continues. I set up a scene, you react, I ask for a dice roll, and then based on the result, I set up a new scene. And through that, we tell a story together. Now, specifically for Monster of the Week, here's how the dice rolls work. It is a 2d6 system, which means we use 2 6-sided dice and add them together. Your rolls can then be as low as a total of 2 with snake eyes, or as high as a total of 12 with double sixes. Easy math, hopefully. I struggle in the heat of the moment
Yeah.
many times, and so I say it's easy.
Yourself.
Yeah,
It's hard.
It's not easy. But hopefully a little bit simpler just because they're nice 6-sided dice. If you roll a total of 10 or higher, you succeed at what you were trying to do. If you roll a total of 7, 8, or 9, you get what is called a mixed success, which means you get part of what you wanted, but it's either not as effective as you might have hoped, or you'll perhaps gain some unintended consequences for your choice, or you might put yourself into danger or harm's way and have a price to pay. I will propose these options to you, and you get to choose the outcome that you prefer. However, if you roll a 6 or lower, then your hunter fails and something will go wrong. This is a chance for me as the keeper to heighten the stakes and keep the conflict going. As hunters, you have stats that are called ratings, and they're mostly on the second page of the player handbooks. But these ratings determine how good or bad you are at certain tasks. These ratings are added to or subtracted from your dice rolls. The ratings range from a -1 to a +3. -1 is bad, 0 is average, +1 is good, +2 is really good, +3 is phenomenal. You each have 5 ratings. Cool is how calm and collected you are. Tough is how strong and mean you are in a fight. Charm is how pleasant and persuasive you are. Sharp is how observant you are. And weird, which is how attuned to the supernatural you are. Based on what your hunter is trying to achieve in a scene, I will ask you to make a roll and add a specific rating based on the task. Which rating you use is based on which hunter move I ask you to make. If you look at the reference sheet, it shows the various hunter moves. They are called Act Under Pressure, Help Out, Investigate a Mystery, Kick Some Ass, Manipulate Someone, Protect Someone, Read a Bad Situation, and Use Magic, which in our world could also mean use advanced technology. So like, modern day technology exists, but in terms of like more sci-fi level stuff, that's what we would call magic, essentially. I'll describe all those rules in more detail when they become relevant, when we get to that point of making a certain roll. But for now, the reference sheet should help just have the basics there for you. That was a big info dump. Are there any questions?
I'm good.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then let's start actual fun by creating the characters. I believe some of you have already chosen handbooks. Are we all at that point?
Yes.
Cool. Then let's go ahead and do a little bit more of a character introduction. Go ahead and say maybe your character's name, pronouns, general description, vibe you're going for, what they look like, etc., and what playbook you actually chose. Let's go with the same order.
Yeah. So I chose the professional, which is someone that does monster hunting for their day job. And of course, when I think of a professional monster hunter, I think of Geralt from The Witcher. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for. He, him pronouns, a little bit not very well kept together, but knows what he's doing, and also not fun to talk to. More akin to, I feel like, I'm going to get into a little bit of a nerd stuff, but
Sure.
more akin to the books where,
Okay.
like, when you talk to him, he's not a good dude.
Yeah.
He does his job and gets paid for it.
Yeah.
Whereas with maybe some of the more games, you can choose to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, my character's name is Wilder. She uses she, her pronouns, and her archetype, I don't know,
Mhm.
is the spooky. She is 20 years old, and because of weird things that go on in her life, she struggles to hold down a job and decided that monster hunting would probably fit her skills best.
Nice. Let's actually
It's
jump
too relatable.
back real fast because I really said Geralt, but you haven't given your
Sorry,
character name.
yes. Gerald is the name.
Yes.
And I'm also realizing this is very similar to Geralt and Ciri. Which is really interesting.
Nice.
We're already figuring this out really
All
well.
right, very nice, very nice. Jumping back, Glenn.
Oh yeah, I will be playing Archetype Crooked. My character's name is Maze. They will be using she, they pronouns. They're very this person is probably a really good embodiment of punk. Lots of piercings, has raccoon hair, lots of layers. Was part of the scene movement in high school. Just never kind of grew out of it. Oh yeah, beat up Converse. Just living life.
Wonderful. Have you all gotten a chance to select the ratings bar that you would like?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and just circle that in with your pencil of the stats you'd like to choose.
She's a little dog.
Most of them, like the professional, I think always gets a +2 in cool because.
And it looks. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say a +1 in sharp. But that's
Okay.
the majority, but not
Majority,
always.
but not
Yeah.
all. So, generally, you're playing the professional, you're used to monster hunting. You're able to keep calm and collected under pressure. Whereas the spooky, I believe, weird is always like a +2 or something like that. I'm not sure about the
Pretty
crooked. Is it
I
more
was gonna
charm
say it does.
or cool that you get?
Charm.
Charm.
Yeah.
Cool. So each of you will have different strengths and stuff based on the ratings you chose. What about the moves, or each of you have different specific things that are attributed to yours.
Oh.
Like for the crooked,
Mine
you
has-
have a background of what was your criminal background?
Right.
Where'd you come from? I think spooky actually just goes straight to moves.
Yeah, we go straight to
Because you kind of get to decide a little bit more. It's a little more freeform of.
I'm just a spooky child.
Yeah. What about yours, Jackson, for Gerald?
Gerald.
Gerald, sorry.
That's a
I've got
soft
the
G.
Yeah. Gerald.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
What is after choosing ratings on your sheet?
Yeah, so I've a little bit of a discussion about the agency,
Okay.
in which I get to choose kind of what they are.
Mhm. Which, because we're kind of doing the vibe of Waveco, this could either be your previous employment or it could be defining Waveco. And because you are the professional, I'll probably say that you're kind of the task leader, the head of this group.
Okay, shit.
No pressure on that. It's still a group thing. But
Alright, yeah.
you're the one that will probably get the call from your boss, which is actually me. I'm going to be
There
playing
we
your
go.
boss.
I will say also underneath agency is resources and then red tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, red tape is going to be things that your organization, the agency, doesn't like you to do, or
Gotcha.
things
Okay,
like that.
cool.
And then you've got extra gears and resources because you do have this whole organization behind you.
Yeah.
So we can take a quick little moment, let you read through those options, see what you might like to choose. Some of them are self-explanatory. If you have questions, I can help explain.
What does budget cuts mean?
That would mean the organization just went through some heavy firing. Everyone's
Okay,
been
yeah.
calling in sick recently, and they don't want a little bit of a board. Just kidding.
That feels very close to home. So
Okay.
I'm gonna
Nice.
check that out.
Sorry, Ava, Sarah, and Moores, but you might be fired from Geek Wave. It's not my fault.
You're right.
And basically, up until the introduction section is unique things that you can choose through.
Cool.
And we don't necessarily have to do all of it. These can be easy, quick decisions because it can be adjusted between each game. If you like the vibe of it, you can keep it. But if something doesn't feel right, you want to kind of change your character. It'll be a little bit freeform because this is kind of a looser, not a strict campaign,
Yeah.
same character, same players every time.
I think you mentioned this at the beginning, but also characters will be rotating out in
Mhm.
terms of like sometimes I might have something going on. Sarah pops in, Ava pops in, who are
Mhm.
other members of Geek Wave and stuff. So
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll be able to rotate to get a wider cast to kind of keep the game going.
For the dark side, do you want me to tell you which 3 I pick so that you could?
Because that comes into play when you use like your luck points and things like that. When you fail, I get to tap into your dark side and play with that a little
Well,
bit.
I have none.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pure.
What is heat?
You didn't get here without making enemies. Pick at least 2.
These and name the people you involved.
Okay, that's kind of freeform, open prompt. You get to choose. You've had a past life as a criminal. Is there
checking
a mob boss that you stole money from that's chasing after you? Do you perhaps have an orphanage that you send money to every once in a while because that's who helped raise you, helped get you off the streets? Whatever those prompts kind of
Okay.
give you, you can kind of define your character a bit.
Here you go.
These are your dark sides.
Yeah, it's my dark side.
I'll keep these secret for DM or keeper purposes. Oh, lovely. I love some of these choices.
I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now, I did say I was going to keep things fairly lighthearted and not super horror, but
Yay.
I also have a tendency to kind of dive into it.
I'm about to say I'm down for
Yeah.
horror.
Jeez,
I'll keep it.
Yeah.
My description's a little bit light, just for maybe some of the
Pretty sure
viewers
we
out
mark
there.
a lot of our stuff as explicit
Yeah.
because we're college students.
Yeah. I mean, literally, one of the moves that you have is called kick some ass.
Right.
So we've already passed the
I-
no swearing content warning. So I'll kind of just keep vamping a little bit of a couple other things. We aren't going to worry about the history section.
Okay.
That kind of gives you inter-party connections between hunters. But again, because it's a rotating cast, for this first session, we just won't worry about it. And we also aren't going to worry about leveling up or improvements. I kind of said that before, but won't worry about those because, again, rotating cast, I just want to keep everyone same level playing field each session.
Real quick, for the bottle it up skill, where you get 3 bonus when you act under pressure. When you use one, the keeper holds one. Are you the keeper?
I'm the keeper,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Did you write
Which one are you looking at, Jackson?
Bottle it
Oh, that's one of the choices you have for the moves, I see.
moves, yes.
If you want, you can take up to +3 bonus when you act under pressure. For each +1 you use, the keeper holds 1. Okay, so that's a good thing that I can explain. A hold is either a good or bad thing, depending if I have it or if you have it.
If you hold it, I can try to use it, and depending on a dice roll, it doesn't get used. Is that?
Opposite.
Oh.
So if you have a hold, you get to ask me a question, or like let's look at investigate a mystery. When you try to investigate a mystery, this is one of the basic hunter moves that all of you have. If you roll high enough, you get a hold and get to ask me a question based on that hold. You're cashing in the hold that you have to gain information about the mystery.
Interesting.
But because in this ability that you're reading on from the professional, I keep it, and because you chose to have a +3 or a +2 to your bonus on one roll you really wanted to succeed at,
Yeah,
I then can punish you later a bit using that hold against you.
I like that.
Mislead you a bit, send you down a red herring,
Cool.
maybe take something away from you. Who knows?
I marked it down. So.
Cool. That's probably fun.
Do you want me to do premonitions for one of my moves? Because I know because that's just like at the start of a mystery.
Oh, right.
You have to tell like a weird vision.
Yeah. Let's look at the... So go ahead and roll 2d6 and add your weird.
Oh, you meant right now.
I mean, yeah, might as well, right?
Okay. Ooh,
That's
oh yeah.
so satisfying.
Yeah.
That is going to be an 11.
An 11, that is a full success.
Yay.
And
I'm
on that,
successful.
you get a detailed vision of something bad that is yet to happen. Okay. This is a chance for a DM whisper thing. I'll come around to you.
Oh, that's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of a secret.
The whispering is very
super
I'm also
intense and
definitely-
loud.
Dead silent over there.
We're whispering. Trying to figure out all these like backgrounds is so difficult because
Yeah.
it's just like no pressure.
Oh, no.
And now it's just kind of like
Now it is pressure. I know.
there's pressure, but there's not pressure.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like.
I've also heard a lot of horror stories because at first I was like, oh, because I'm going through the gear right now, right? Depending messy, far, loud. Do I
Yeah.
want to be one of those people that just rolls in super loud, ruins everything?
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I've also heard from other people that's played Dungeons and Dragons that people who tend to be on that more rambunctious side are just
Yeah.
not fun to play.
Oh my gosh.
Because they just take over, kind
Yeah.
of.
So
Yeah.
there's a balance,
Yeah, of
like
course.
because this is a team game, we're all playing it together. None of us are the main character. We're all
Yeah.
the main character kind of thing. That's true. You got to balance it a bit of like, take action. Looking at the hunter agenda, your first agenda goal is to act like you are the hero because you are.
That's right.
And so take heroic moments, take charge of situations, but also leave room for everyone to kind of have their time in the spotlight.
Cool.
So it's
That
fine
is
to
helpful.
be the push the button kind of
I know,
character.
but I also don't want to be that person where
Sure.
it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna go in with my grenade launcher,
Yeah.
blow the thing up, and
Yeah.
then like super
Mystery's
loud.
over.
It's just improv rules.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Exactly.
don't overshadow somebody in their moment.
And besides, you may say you do that, but depending on the dice roll, that grenade might blow up in your own hand. It might not even make
You're
it down
right.
the hallway.
You are so right.
I'll explain two more rules that we'll cover them when they're in when it happens, like the specifics. But the general vibe is instead of having hit points in this game, you have what's called harm,
Oh.
and you have 7 points of harm that you can take. When you've taken 0 harm, you're just fine. Nothing's going wrong. However, once you reach 4 harm, you become unstable, and those wounds will progressively get worse. Yes.
There is a line between 3 for me, so for me it's the lower.
No, that's
Oh, that
meaning
is the line.
3 is good as soon as you take the 4th one. You
Gotcha.
pass the line, that 4th one makes you unstable.
Okay.
And then once you get all 7 filled, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's the end. It's not necessarily meaning you're. Actually, no, you're just
I
out
mean,
of the
for-
mystery.
Yeah,
Like
for
you're
Monster of the
still.
Week, it can just be you're dead. Come back next time with a
Yeah,
new character.
exactly, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Or this is modern day. There's modern science. There's also weird science and sci-fi
right.
things. So there's also ways to bring your character back if you're really attached to the character. Maybe you just got a new prosthetic limb. Your eye may be replaced or something.
Sounds very good.
We can work something out. So that's harm. You do want to stay below 4 in general. Something to keep in mind with that is actually to talk about how kick some ass works. In a lot of games, the players will take a turn and they'll attack a monster, and then the monster will take a turn and they'll attack the players. With Monster of the Week, it happens simultaneously. If
Oh.
you choose to kick some ass and attack the monster, you're both going to do your harm points to each other. Now, you do have things like armor or different things that can be used to reduce the harm that you take, or depending on your roll, if you roll above a 10, you can actually reduce the harm that you take, but you will take harm if you choose to attack a monster. So, figuring out other ways to solve problems beforehand might be wise, but sometimes it comes down to you just gotta kick some ass. So, yeah, that's something to keep in mind with harm. The other one is luck. You have 7 luck points. All players do, all hunters do. And you can spend a luck to either decrease a wound you have suffered to 0 harm. You just took a blow you just took 3 harm. It's going to put you over the edge. You don't want to take that. You can use up your luck and say you dodged the attack. You get to narrate how you do that. Or you can use the luck point to, after you roll for like a check that you're trying to make, if you fail, you can retroactively change the result to a 12, a full success. You can take charge of the story and say, you know what, this is my character's moment. I want them to succeed. I'm going to use luck. But as your luck dwindles, bad things might happen. Like for the spooky, your flaws, your
My dark side.
your,
gets
your
worse.
dark side might come out a bit more.
So, will these the luck, the harm, and stuff like that? Will those be carrying over between weeks and sessions?
No, the
Harm and luck.
between sessions, yeah, both those reset. Those are more of a per
Yeah,
session thing.
So feel free to.
A long
go
rest normally will reset the harm points.
Mhm.
Do you want us to go through improvements or history or anything yet?
We weren't gonna worry about
We're not worried
those.
about those? Okay.
Improvements is part of leveling up.
Gotcha.
History is fun because it builds up relationships between you.
So if eventually, like, yeah.
If we've got consistent players, we're kind of going to develop those relationships anyways.
Yeah.
So I think that will just happen naturally.
Right now, we are colleagues in the window.
Mm.
Okay, I've got to introductions.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. I think when things arise, it'll.
Sweet, yay.
Yeah. Okay, great. We already gave the general descriptions, general vibe. Now that you all have your characters, who are all monster hunters and members of Waveco, and we've covered the basics of the game, let's actually play. Let's start your mission. Everyone ready?
Yes.
Ready to go?
Cool.
Scary.
Yeah. You and me both. Especially because I no longer have a script. It's now just notes of little bullet points.
Oh, yeah.
So, you three have just completed a previous job. Over the last night, you got a call out in fairly close to here at the University of Utah, out in the avenues of Salt Lake City. There was a possession that happened. Kind of like I alluded to in the beginning, you guys helped exorcise a ghost from a poor woman in the middle of the night. And it's kind of normal protocol. You've been left to stake out in front of the building over the night just to make sure it actually took, that the ghost doesn't come back. So the three of you are in a typical Utah Mormon family 12-passenger van.
Yep.
You've been there taking shifts of sleeping and taking watch. So all of you are fully rested and fully healed up from your previous adventure. And around 10, 11 a.m., we'll call it 10:30, you get a call from me, your boss at Waveco, over the little van speakerphone type thing. So it rings, you guys pick up, and I let you all know. Let's see. Gerald? Gerald. I'm gonna have to write that too. Jerry. Gerald. I write it with a J because that will help me.
There you go.
Rather
Oh,
than
there
a
we
G,
go.
yeah.
It is Gerald.
Yeah. The phone rings, you pick up. Gerald Wilder Mays. There's a new mission for you at the Wilds Emporium. We received a call from Joan, the museum curator, and she wouldn't give many details over the phone, but she's wanted to keep things discreet. But there has been some strange activity going on this morning at the it's called an emporium, but it's really a museum of fantastical creatures and beasts and everything, all collected and stuffed and on display. So your task is to go there, ask for Joan, be as discreet as possible entering, don't raise any alarms, and Joan will fill you in on more details.
He's begging us to raise all the way in there.
He's like, please do.
So, you all take off in your van. You head to where previously the Hogle Zoo was. In this world, the Hogle Zoo didn't do so hot. The Hogle Zoo went under new management of Joan, who tried to bring in a wider variety of creatures and things to have at the zoo. But problems arose and it got shut down for several years, and now it has been torn down and a giant industrial type building has been built on top of it, and that is now what's known as the Wilds Emporium, which is a museum. So you guys all drive off to there. You see this large, very ugly, gray slate, concrete, boring ass building, not very exciting. You pull up in your van. What would you like to do?
I'll kick us off and be the first one out of the car. I mean,
Go for it.
before this god-awful gray building was put up, went to the Hogle Zoo with my family all the time, so.
Was it good? Did you have fun, or was it
It was fine. It was the Hogle Zoo.
right? I don't know. I'm glad it got replaced. Like, who wants to see a bunch of normal animals when you can have fantastical animals nowadays?
I don't know, the rug pandas were pretty cute.
With our job, I'd much prefer to see regular animals than those weird bastards.
I mean, monsters means money, so I'm always good with whatever.
Yeah, but monsters also mean hurt children, so not very good for
Probably
us
when you do
sitting.
Monster Hunter, maybe.
So the three of you strut up, a little bit of banter as you go up to the front gates. You ask around just at the front desk of asking for Joan as you were instructed, and they guide you to what is the Wilds of Utah exhibit, where creatures native to Utah are on display. And you can see that the entire area has been blocked off and kind of shut down. Very impromptu little red, like line, whatever those calls, little like the fencing, the temporary
Yeah.
fencing type stuff has been brought out and put in front of the doors. I don't know what to call it. I kept trying to say red carpet, but that's
I mean, red carpet to some.
yeah. So you're let in, and you enter into the Wilds of Utah exhibit. You see an area that's dedicated to the red rocks of St. George, Hurricane area. You see an area of more the, what's the mountains called? The Uintas? Is that correct?
Yeah, you went to this.
Yeah. So the Uintas a little bit more, the evergreens, foresty snow. Just kind of a nice panoramic through the different seasons, kind of an idea of the various landscapes you might see here in Utah.
Nice.
And there you see a very anxious, pacing around, business suit clad Joan, who very clearly is the museum curator.
Do we want to draw sticks for who's going to actually talk to her?
Right. Is Joan male, female?
Female, she, her.
Female. And she's, how old does she appear to be?
Mid-40s.
Mid-40s, alright.
You say she's pacing. What kind of pacing is it? Like, is it like actual frantic pacing, or is it more of just like in thought pacing?
Okay, let's go ahead and have a roll for that.
Nice.
It's the same roll, so it's either an investigate a mystery or a read a bad situation. I'll call it read a bad situation.
Okay, it's sharp anyway, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Oh god, that's the same. That is a 9 minus 1. That is an 8.
Okay, so that's a mixed success. So you get a hold 1, which means that you can ask me one of the following questions.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to flip it over to investigate a mystery because it does make sense. The questions make more sense. It's the same mechanic. So you can ask, like, what happened here. Basically, you're already asking me more about Joan.
Actually,
right?
I want to ask what can hurt it. No, I'm joking.
What can hurt Joan? An untied
we might
shoelace.
have to ask that at some
Exactly.
point.
Yeah, so what's going on here?
Okay. So Joan does seem anxious, and it does seem genuine that she's pacing around, that she is waiting for you three to arrive, or for these investigators that she is called for to arrive. She is picking up her phone, picking up her walkie, looking through various things, and in a frantic state. It seems like she's not happy about what's going on here.
Does she have one of those, like, god-awful belts where you clip your phone in?
Yep. The shirt is tucked in, and it's shirt's tucked in, and it's right there, out poking out. Yeah. You also notice that there are two other figures standing in the room that aren't moving. They're standing in front of an exhibit, a very reminiscent of a salt flat exhibit. They're just standing there looking into the scene.
Yeah,
Not really
I'm
moving.
gonna want to check that out, see what those
Okay.
guys are about, see if they've got any, like, distinctive tattoos or badges.
Mhm. Okay. Go ahead and roll me investigate mystery as well.
Okay.
And you'll add your sharp score.
Okay. 8.
Okay, another mixed success. So you get to ask me one of those questions, which basically is what is going on here with these two people. Does that seem right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
More specifically, like, who are they? Do I recognize them?
Okay.
Kind of vibe.
They are your standard white tourists. They have their fanny pack out.
Okay.
They've got. They're not very exciting people. They're very bland. They seem like guests of this Emporium, this museum.
Okay. So the museum is open right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So the rest of the museum, the other exhibits are currently still open. As you walk through, there were guests shuffling in and
Oh,
about,
okay.
buying tickets and
Okay.
things. It's specifically just the Utah exhibit that is closed off, the Wilds of Utah exhibit.
But there's still two, what we think are guests in there.
Yes,
Mhm.
but as you
Because
get
that's
closer,
suspicious.
though, you see that they are completely unmoving. They are frozen in place. One of them has their
Oh.
arm outstretched and then pointing into the exhibit towards like a fake rock diorama type thing. They are frozen in place.
Oh yeah, I absolutely poked the cheek.
And as you do that, Joan's like, wait, who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh,
Please don't touch them.
we're from Wave.
Oh, finally you guys showed up. Well, what do you guys think? We showed up this morning, normal day, walking around, and I get a call from Phil, the maintenance guy, that there's other guests freaking out, complaining that these two people are standing here unmoving. We quickly shut down the exhibit. We don't know what's going on here. Can you help us out?
Yeah. We'll try our best.
When exactly did the first guest report that they saw them here? About how long have they been here?
They've been here probably close to an hour now. Between the call, we opened at 9, and it was about 10 that we got the call, and now we're pushing towards 11 in the timeline. And
they came in at opening, or have they been here?
we assume so.
Okay.
We haven't. We can look through security footage to see
I
when
was
they
gonna ask,
arrived.
have you looked at security footage at all?
Not yet. We've been a bit scrambled making sure to close this area off.
And it sounds like we also should probably talk to Phil and stuff.
Phil, yeah. By the way, what time is it, would you say? You said 11-ish?
11 now, yeah, between
Okay.
your commute over.
And you open at 9?
Yes.
Okay.
However, you guys have very limited access to this museum. We have had some bad press in the past, and we've just finally got things set up again, up and running. We really don't want
Can
things to blow
I
out.
do a check to see if I know what she's talking about specifically? Like,
Sure.
what's the bad press? Give me the tea.
This is just something that you would know, not necessarily a role associated to it.
Mm-hmm.
The bad press is that she took over the Hogle Zoo and ran it to the ground. Of the monsters that she brought in as exhibits escaped and would kill visitors and guests, and she got full shutdown and has restarted with the Emporium as a safer route. Rather than live creatures and monsters, they're all stuffed and fossils and things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the fact that this is happening again really is stressing Joan out.
I see.
Joan was the one that ran it into, not
Yeah.
purposely, but we assume,
intentionally.
not intentionally. Okay.
She seems to have a great passion for this place. However, as you're kind of looking around the Wilds of Utah exhibit, she seems to have a bit of a disdain for it. She does not like this area. It has been a problem area. She isn't too thrilled that another problem is happening here, it seems like.
What used to be here?
This exhibit?
The exhibit specifically. What did this exhibit used to be?
You-
When it was the Monster Zoo and the Hogle Zoo.
For the Monster Zoo, this didn't really exist. This whole exhibit, this is Joan speaking, this whole exhibit is actually a bit of Phil's passion project. I think it's stupid to have an exhibit of Utah native creatures here, where in Utah, just go look in your backyard. You'll see all the same stuff. But I've got all these other exhibits of wonderful far-off places and creatures that we've never seen before, but Phil is just obsessed with the local flora and fauna, and I can't understand it.
So, besides being the maintenance guy, Phil is...
He's actually been with me the longest. He was here with the zoo as well and has helped rebuild this. He's been a long time business partner, essentially.
Okay. But he
I
also
will-
does maintenance.
He's like the head of the maintenance team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will say also, if you want us to do our best work, we are going to have to look in places you're probably not going to be very happy with.
That's fine. The problem is here, however. And the main issue is, back to your other question of what was in this exhibit, you look down and you can see a little placard detailing what was displayed. You see a little empty space of where a creature would have been out displayed. Here, in real life, the Great Salt Lake is drying up, which is a problem that needs to be addressed. And in this fantasy world, unfortunately, it has already completely dried up.
Oh.
It is a salt flat at this point. And this is kind of detailing on the placard that a few years back, in the salt flats, they discovered a creature buried underneath. They unearthed it, and based on its appearance, it's kind of a very large Komodo dragon type thing, but it's got 6 legs, it's got very rocky exterior skin, and across its back it had large, you can see like there's a little drawing on the placard as well of what the creature looked like. There were these large salt crystals that would grow across from its head all the way down its back through its long extended tail. And so given its appearance, where it was found, it was named the salt basilisk.
Nice.
Nice.
And another interesting thing that they found that's on the placard is that they ran some various tests on it, kind of looking through of what this is, trying to discover what kind of family of species it might have fallen into, they found that it actually appears to be a mother. That across its back, all those salt crystals held little embryos of little tiny babies within them. So there used to be this mom on display that is no longer there.
Wait, there was a physical.
There was a physical.
Was it life-size?
What they unearthed, the actual thing that they unearthed, the
The
fossil,
actuals.
Oh,
has gone missing.
they did make a replica. They put the real thing on display.
Yeah.
Intelligent.
And she kind of backs away from that question of just, we found it, we procured it, and
You
we've
found
had
it?
here. I mean, Phil has been heavily involved in local creatures and their research and things, and so he was part of the excavation team. He's a bit of a hobbyist, and he helped us procure it, and it's been one of his pride and joys here.
What did you do with the embryos? Were they?
Well, they were
Are they-
petrified with
Petrified?
with the mother. They were just still within the salt crystals, not alive either, just fossilized and just still on her back.
Back to the bodies. I'm
Hmm?
gonna poke them and try
Yeah.
to move them, and I'm gonna ask Joan how sure are you that this is supernatural? It's only been an hour. This could be an internet prank.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
trying to move them to see if I can if they're movable.
Okay. You poke their skin, and even when you did before, there is natural give to it. However, it feels as if all the muscles are tense.
Okay.
So you try to move the arm, but they're fighting against you, essentially. Even though they're not moving, their muscles aren't activating once you touch them. That's just naturally, they are frozen in place. So they are movable, but they've got a Charlie horse over their
So,
entire body.
rigor
Are they?
mortis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they breathing though?
No.
Oh, they're not breathing.
No.
Great.
Okay, my next question is, can you see their eyes moving at all? But
Mm.
no, they are static.
They are stationary. They are in a full state of paralysis.
No
Oh.
pulse either. I'm gonna get I could check.
Mhm.
So this is something that I'm still trying to grapple with
Really?
between D&D and other
yeah.
games of
Yeah.
normally I would ask you to make a perception, but with this game you things that you can naturally just observe, you get the information. These are for more heightened things when rolls come in.
Mhm.
So you're able to feel a pulse.
Okay.
It's very, very faint, very, very slow.
Okay.
It seems like they do have a state of living, and with that the breathing is also just very, very faint, very, very slow.
They aren't standing in front of the basilisk.
They are.
They are. Oh.
They are in
Empty.
front of the empty
Empty.
basilisk exhibit.
Mhm.
One of them is looking down at the sign, eyes up though toward where the other one is pointing of the kind of rock diorama.
Can we ask Joan how long the
Yeah, how
basilisk
big was this thing?
fossil was gone?
Okay, so
Because when you say basilisk, I'm thinking dinosaur.
yeah, think Triceratops, or what are the ones that have the spikes and the really spiky tail at the end?
Stegosaurus.
Yeah, it's in that realm. It's
The
It's
long.
standing up next to you.
horse.
Yeah, your head height is going to be its back height minus, but then the crystals will still protrude beyond that. It's
Mhm.
got 6 legs, so 3 on each side. Fairly long tail. It's a little bit more of a stubby tail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're looking at the little museum diorama on the sign. It's got a little silhouette of a human being standing next to it for
Yeah.
the size
Yeah.
comparison.
Naturally, of course it does.
Even the footprints that you can see where it was
Mm.
placed, you can kind of get a sense for the size. And you were asking how long it's been.
How long has it been gone?
So Joan goes into another explanation of, well, I didn't really want to report this because thefts can happen. Who am I to know otherwise? Phil's a bit upset over it, but it happened this morning. Phil noticed, Phil was actually working on, we had a bite of a water piping, and you look up at this exhibit, and again, this is an ugly industrial building, so the entire roof is just, the scaffolding is exposed, you see the air vents, you see the water lines, it's all exposed kind of architecture, and Joan points up and describes we had a water pipe burst, and Phil was fixing that up all through the night, and at some point between that, the basilisk was here at the beginning. After he got it fixed, he looked down, basilisk was gone. He reported it as a theft to me. I didn't want to deal with insurance issues or things like that, so we didn't think anything of it until these two showed up, and that's why we called.
You probably should have called a medical person here first, though. They are barely breathing.
Well, we hope to keep things discreet. We don't want medical records
I
going
think two
on.
people dying would be a little less discreet than medical attention.
But if they're breathing like you just said, they're not dead yet, right?
Barely was the key word.
Barely alive. I'll take it.
Listen, when it comes to blue bloods, they rarely care about people's lives.
So true.
Insurance is on the line.
Look, I have fought tooth and nail to keep this Emporium afloat. I will not have it fall down again over some stupid-ass news story. That's what you're here for. Help cover my ass. I don't want this to fall apart again.
I'm good with it, but I'm gonna ask for a little bit more money for keeping all of our mouths closed.
What are you talking, like 5% bump?
5%? We don't even know what the issue is yet. I'm expecting at least a
7%? Half? I was gonna go to
50%.
I mean, I'd have to look at some finances, I
Mhm.
suppose.
I'd have to look at my journalist friends and see what they think about the
I
situation.
think half could be
Mhm.
appropriate.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. She kind of nervously backs away from your group a little bit, just like noticing that she is talking to monster hunters, that you all are extra normal in of yourself in some ways, and so she's kind of taking the grasp of, who did I call? Maybe I should have called the medical practitioners like you just said. What have I gotten into?
Could I do another investigate a mystery
Yeah.
roll?
Go ahead and roll plus sharp.
6.
A 6. So that is a failure, which I believe just means
Nothing.
nothing happens with
Yep.
investigate a mystery. You don't gain any further information.
Is there any way that I could help?
You actually
Oh,
can.
yeah,
You
you
actually
could.
can. You can take the help out action. So go ahead and roll and add your cool portion.
Me? Okay.
Or whatever hunter would like to help out. And so since you said it.
Whoever's cool.
I
I
roll.
have 2 plus 2.
You do it then, because I've
Okay.
got 0.
Okay.
Roll both then?
Yeah, Gerald. Go ahead and roll.
I was gonna take that in. Should have prepared for that. I got a 6 as well, including the plus 2.
Plus 2. Cool. So that means
Or-
you're unable to
That's
help
a 7.
out.
Wait,
Sorry.
that,
Oh.
that is a
I don't know how to do. Like we said beforehand.
Math in the
should be
moment
simple math.
never works.
Yeah.
Okay, with a 7, your help grants them a +1, which means because Wilder you rolled a 6, that bumps up to a 7, so that is actually a success. You have a hold 1 and can ask me one of those questions,
Awesome.
which are just prompts. You know, they're just to spark ideas. Any question you want to ask works.
She hasn't been very forthwith with really any information. I want to know what's being concealed here. What is she not telling us?
It seems like this basilisk being here on display, the salt basilisk, is illegal. They procured it through illegal
Oh,
means. It's not
absolutely.
insured. She does not want to go through the legal
not
problems.
insured.
She said it was, and that's why they didn't want to call, but it's not.
It being a real thing is probably the biggest red flag.
So she is intentionally trying to get you not to poke around too much, of help out with what's going on, but she doesn't want to get into legal or financial troubles. That's most of the extent of what she's hiding from you. You don't get the sense that she's hiding information in terms of the events of what's happened. That seems to be on par with what she just understands and knows.
Okay.
Could I do read a bad situation roll real quick?
Yeah.
Cool.
Add your sharp.
So that's a 9 plus 1 is 10.
Nice. So on a 10
Um,
plus, you get a hold 3. So you actually get to ask me 3 of those questions.
Oh.
And holds can be cashed in at any time. They have to be kind of
Okay.
relevant to the same situation, but if you want to ask me just like 1 or 2 and save one for later, that would work as well.
Okay. Then the one thing the one thing I do want to ask is what's the best, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Dangers you haven't noticed.
Maybe this is the wrong time to ask that.
I think that's a great time to ask it.
Okay.
Because having a wild basilisk on the loose
That's
is
what
the
I'm saying.
best
They're
thing
like
for all of our
footprints that we
help.
haven't seen, or is
Yeah.
it just
So I'm going to cash in 2 of your holds because I'm going to give you 2 pieces of information with this question, if that's okay.
sounds good.
Okay. So one of the dangers that you notice is because you are the professional monster hunter, you've been around, although you haven't heard of a salt basilisk, this seems of a new spin-off series, what
Spin-off.
genus, what is it, the genus and the species or the
Yeah,
familia?
phylum,
Yeah,
whatever.
it seems like one of the, like a branches. But you have encountered basilisks before. And so you are familiar with one of their general abilities, which is, like Medusa, if you lock eyes with them, they have the ability to paralyze you. And so, knowing that, you can assume that's what happened to these two people, which leads you to believe, is this basilisk alive somehow?
Yeah.
So that's the first part of it. Second part is you look around in the exhibit, and you do notice footprints from where it was initially stationed to where the tourists are pointing of the rock outcropping, like the fake diorama or whatever.
Okay. And it's a salt flat.
Yeah,
right?
so where it
Is
is
there,
next
like-
to, like, it's all flat, but then, like, it's more the red rocks is what
Mhm.
you see the footprints going to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are there visible footprints then that lead to a certain direction?
Right now, what you see is, going behind the red rock diorama.
Okay.
Then you said I had 3 questions, right? We just took 2.
Yeah.
So the last question I have then, what's the best way to protect them, or is there anything I can do for the victims right now since they are frozen? Like,
'Kay.
Yeah.
You know that each type of basilisk that you've encountered has a different antitoxin or cure that's used for them.
But I haven't encountered. Got
So one thing that you might know is a standard basilisk, if you damage them and use some of their blood, that will then unpetrify their victims. So you have a general understanding of there is some sort of, usually a liquid. It's not always a liquid. Sometimes it can be different. But there is some sort of substance that will help unparalyze them.
Gotcha.
However, until you have that antidote equivalent, they are frozen. There hasn't
Okay.
been a cure found outside of it. The cure usually comes from the creatures themselves, or at least something the creatures like. Sometimes it's the food that they eat. It's very varied,
Okay.
right? So it's unsure of a precise way, but you know that as long as they're not touched or harmed where they are, they should be fine until you find a way to unparalyze them.
Hey, Joan, you said
Yeah.
something about a water pipe bursting?
Yeah, it was right up there, kind of pointing above the exhibit.
Interesting. Can we do a little group huddle real quick?
Sure. She goes off on her walkie-talkie and
Yeah,
protects,
we wanna,
pretends
I'm actually
busy.
gonna say, where can we find you if we need you?
Oh, good question.
She pulls out a business card and hands over her phone number.
Okay.
And I'm a bit scrambled, obviously, with all this going on, but I will pick up. That's where I'm in damage control mode, so.
Alright,
give
and
me a call.
then Phil, where is he?
I can give him radio and I can have him come down here and come talk to you.
Should we send him our way?
Sounds good. We should probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
send
Okay.
him our way.
Laptop.
While you guys huddle, you hear her go off and start talking to Phil on the walkie-talkie. You overhear a little bit of the conversation of, "Hey Phil, the investigators are here. We'd like you to come down." You hear a little marbled response, and there's like, "Is that water running? Like, what's going on back there?" Like, no, it's just my Harmony River that I've got in my office. I'll be down in a second. It's the kind of conversation you get. Harmony Rivers are those like water features where it's
Yeah.
just the waterfall type thing that you see in
Okay.
dentist's
Didn't we
office.
hear
and
that
thing.
though?
Through the walkie, like
Okay.
Joan was asking about that, and you overhear their conversation, and she's like, "All right, make it down here as soon as you can,
Okay.
and then you guys can have your huddle." All that's going on.
Sweet.
Okay, so we have a missing basilisk. See?
He's
Do a little
so
depiction.
Oh,
cute.
Oh, nice.
I got the scale now.
Very nice.
There you go, here's the scale. That's actually what
That's what the
display.
diorama looks like. Yeah, the artistic rendition.
Yes. Okay. So the water pipe was the only thing that would have changed before this basilisk disappeared. So this is
I actually say that's what caused it to.
That's what I was.
yeah. See, I had a little dream
Oh.
the other night.
Oh, do tell.
I don't know if it's relevant, but it's really kind of freaking me out. It was
Maybe.
water, and when the water hit the rocks started to grow.
I'd say that's pretty relevant.
That sounds
Yeah.
strangely familiar. Yeah, okay.
We literally live in a fantasy world.
Yeah, like that's true, but you know what? Like dreams,
And you didn't want to.
stranger than fiction. So yeah. Though what's kind of peeving me out is Phil. Is that his name?
Phil's the maintenance guy.
Running water, and a creature that responds to water.
Am I not connecting some dots here?
Oh.
Like I'm
Phil, I
saying
know.
that Phil did, like
Phil intentionally did this.
it's either he intentionally did it or he's hiding it somewhere. So I don't think calling Phil over here is a very good idea.
Are you guys talking about me? You see from behind a little short halfling old man, balding on top, little little rim of hair around the
Nice.
sides, big popped out ears as this Phil, the maintenance guy, walks into the exhibit like, "You guys called me down?"
This is a gnome?
A little halfling.
Halfling,
Yeah.
okay. So
I don't believe I can say hobbit because I think that's
Yeah,
more.
hobbit is probably
But it's the
better, right?
equivalent. It's
Yeah.
the
That does remind me,
halfling.
isn't it Frodo and Bilbo's birthday?
It is. Today is Frodo and Bilbo's birthday. And
Such a nice-
yeah, and it's also my 3-year anniversary of when I came out to my parents.
Oh,
I came
yeah.
out on Frodo and Bilbo's birthday. So yeah,
Congrats. What was I talking? Oh, yeah, so Phil comes out.
Phil's approaching
Um,
and coming to you guys. You called for me?
Yeah.
yeah, we're trying to fix your basilisk problem.
Yeah, I miss her. That's one of my favorite exhibits here, and I really want to know where she went. Do you have any loot, any clues and leads?
That's what we kind of wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard from Joan that you just love this fossil, so.
I
Yeah, if you
do.
love them so much, do you know a possible location where they would want to go?
Want to go? I mean, it's a fossil. It's not going anywhere. I mean, I was here fixing the wall.
Evidence shows otherwise that it up and left.
What do you mean?
It's okay, Phil. We're monster hunters here.
Yeah.
A little basilisk getting out isn't that big of a deal. We just kind of need to know where it is.
I mean, I thought that's what you're here for. I don't know. I was fixing the water pipe. It was there when I got here, and it was gone after I fixed it. Like, I don't know where it went. I don't know what you're talking about.
I pull my revolver.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
just
I
pull
was
it
trying,
out.
I was trying
Yeah.
to do a little
I pull it down and,
manipulate
like, look.
someone.
Okay.
Look,
Oh, I
Phil,
thought that
we
was a
just want to
Yeah.
get this taken care of as quickly as possible. I need you to cut the bullshit and
Okay.
just tell us straight so we can get this solved as quickly as possible and get out of your hair.
Okay, I'm going to call that a help out action from Gerald and a manipulate someone from Maze.
Okay, so then.
So you roll your help out first, because that might give you a bonus.
That's a 4 + 1 sharp.
Cool for help out.
Oh, hell
cool
yeah.
for help
Isn't that
out.
+2 for
That's-
you?
Yeah, so 6 here.
Okay, so then I roll mine and add +6.
No, so with the 6, that's a failure. Your help doesn't necessarily help out with Maze's roll, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just under the barrier, but
Okay, so then it's.
so your roll
plus
is
charm.
normal.
Oh no.
Oh.
7.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty decent.
So the description is they'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it.
Look, regardless of whether the basilisk up and walked away, we want to make sure that people stay safe, including the basilisk.
Okay, as long as you keep the basilisk safe.
As long as it didn't hurt nobody, we have no business hurting it. We just need a tiny bit of blood to save these people.
I was about to say.
Well, that sounds like you're gonna try to harm it.
Okay, do you call people who go to blood drives doctors harming people?
And you've
It's
seen
just
how
a
big
prank.
the thing is and how small
She's a
we are.
beauty.
We just need like a
She
little
is.
prick to have a little swing for the 2 people over there. Otherwise, they're gonna die, and that's gonna mean that the basilisk is going to be gone forever.
Now look,
We need you to work with us to work with you.
and once you work with us, chances are that if things go well, it might return to its natural habitat.
I mean, her natural habitat's a bit destroyed, I think, with the
Oh yeah.
lake drying up. But, I mean, I suppose I could show you.
I mean, freedom is better than captivity.
Do you really want what's best for this basilisk?
Well, of course I do. And from the distance across the hallway, the doorway that Phil entered in, you hear a scream call out. And Phil kind of looks out, doesn't know what's going on.
I think we're done with Phil. Let's go to
Yeah, I was like, immediately walking that way.
Yeah, we
Okay.
just immediately stop the conversation. Go on.
Don't hurt her! And you guys all rush off
Yeah,
towards
yeah.
the scream.
Okay. What do we see when we get there? Like,
Okay.
What do we need to do? Yeah.
Yeah, follow the
'Cause it's
screen
not
in a
like-
bad
where
situation.
people
I
are
don't
running
think
away,
that
we're
way, yeah.
going to
Just-
where they're running away from.
Yeah, you go off towards a hallway that leads from this exhibit off to what is the Wilds of the Ocean exhibit. And as you enter in, you see a woman, arm outstretched, hand in front of her mouth, paralyzed, frozen. You follow her eye line and pointed finger, and you see that it's going back behind a tank like one of the exhibits. And you want to pursue down.
Well, real quick,
Okay.
for basilisks, is
Mhm.
it direct eye contact? Is it like if we're wearing glasses, we're good? Like, what do we?
You understand it to be eye-to-eye contact
Okay.
is when they're able to paralyze.
Does anyone have any glasses? Do we need some sort of eye protection before we keep going?
anything on me. Well,
Because I mean, I have like my phone. I could look at it through a camera, but taking
yeah, I
pretty
wouldn't say
chances.
how
Yeah,
efficient
yeah.
that is. I was just
Yeah.
gonna keep my head down, not
Okay.
like directly, like side-eyeing things all the
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
I look at
More
my
so than I
feet
do
anyway.
already.
Yeah. Okay. So you cautiously approach, averting your gaze as best you can.
Yeah.
Before that, I would like to use my tune-in
Okay.
move. You can attune your mind to a monster or a minion.
Ooh,
It's
nice.
a weird roll.
Go ahead and make that roll for me then.
And I think I can do it without seeing her because
You're weird.
like
You've got this.
weird.
Yeah.
that's a 7.
A 7. So that means you get a hold 1. So where's the creature right now? What is it planning? Who is it going to attack next? Who's the biggest threat?
What does it regard as its biggest threat?
Lack of water.
Okay.
And you get the general sense that there is not a large form that you're getting the sense from, but a little bit of a smaller form that you're getting a vibe from around this tank. Yeah, you're getting the sense that it desperately wants water, and it is trying to find as much water as it can. It fears not having it. That's its biggest threat.
Is Phil still around, or did we like fully leave him?
When you started to take off, he's no longer with you. He didn't follow
Yeah.
behind.
Okay.
He has vanished.
Okay. I think we need to try to find out if there's an access to the sewer system, or like whatever large body of water the local zoo is taking its water from.
Mhm.
We need to find a way to get the basilisk there, so it's not in the reach of people and also large amounts of water.
Okay. Should we contact Joan?
We do have her
About-
number. It's
We
pretty
do.
good.
Just closing the facility.
Oh.
There's been a water break.
We could start breaking things.
You
You've
said
got a
it,
nice
not
tank
me.
in front of you. It's full of water and fake fish that are hung up around it inside of it. Like,
Oh, there's not even real fish?
yeah, because it's now a museum and they don't have anything like living,
I
or at least they
see.
didn't think they had anything living. It's just-
Yeah, I'll, do one of you wanna?
Gerald, you have some really big like guns on you, don't you? I mean, it's not really responsible, but what else can we do?
I'm good with that. In terms of just breaking stuff to close the exhibit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, we need Joan to at least hear. We don't know where she is right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which one of you wants to give her a call?
I'm good to give her a call.
Okay.
Hey, Joan. Shoot the glass.
Literally.
Hey, Joan, it's time for you to close the exhibit.
It's
not to steal your
Close the
thunder.
building.
You know, dial. Hey Joan, look. I got a really nice looking pistol here, and we are having a little bit of problems trying to get this monster under control. I think it would be very helpful if we close down the museum for everyone's safety. That being said, I know how weird you are about all of this,
I don't want a big story breaking out.
and this is exactly why we don't want a big story. We need everything closed. You can say it's a water break. Like I said, I got this pistol. I'm not afraid to. I see that nice looking mannequin thing over there of whatever dumb animal you guys have made up. I'm looking straight between its eyes right now.
I mean, I'll pay for the damaged tank over this story, so I'll call the evacuation notice.
That's what I thought.
And so, do you take the shot as well?
No.
Okay.
Like yes, before I think we need to get the lady who's in the exhibit out of the
Okay.
exhibit.
Yeah.
There's a
The one who's
lady
frozen.
Who found the basilisk.
Pointing
Or
behind
the
the
basilisk
that's right.
found her.
Yeah.
We just pick her up and put her above her.
And as you're doing that, you're moving them across the hall back to where it was, and you start going back towards. I assume you're going to want to follow the trail of where she was pointing.
Okay.
So you're back in that room. Sirens start to go off, and please make your way as calmly as possible to the nearest exit.
I
Just
think it would be an emergency evacuation, but okay.
No, she's trying to keep it a little bit calm, like. So a
Just
kid,
be
a kid
shoot.
peed in the pool. We've got to clean it out, just kind of as casual as possible.
Code Brown.
Yeah,
Actually,
code brown.
Real quick, are there fire sprinklers?
Yes.
There are.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another way we can lure it out, is fire sprinklers.
That will probably.
Or what are those called officially?
Yeah, I think like the fire extinguishing sprinklers that are in the
Yeah.
roof systems. It's
I think that would be a good way to lure it out.
Then again, it depends on also, I want to make sure that there's no replacement fees from this thing. What's going to cost more money, us destroying the one tank or turning on the fire sprinklers that's going to turn on for the entire museum?
That is fair.
Fire
and that was my other
sprinklers.
thing.
Fire sprinklers?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I just need to
fire
double check.
sprinklers. We can,
I can use magic.
yeah, we could
That
probably
also works.
use magic to block off something and keep it contained to this room.
Well, for the fire, though I don't know how contained I can keep it.
Have to roll and find out.
I was gonna say, the fire alarm, if we just pulled the fire alarm,
Oh, that's so
it would
right.
just set
That's
them
what I
off.
was-
We don't need to fire anything.
Well, that's not fun.
Fair.
But yeah, we should probably just put a fire alarm.
Metal.
Does anybody have a cigarette on you or a twig or something you can
Oh.
light up and burn underneath as well? Kind of.
I'd assume I've probably got
Yeah.
6 on me.
I was about to
Okay,
say.
yeah. You unroll it from your sleeve. No, that's a little more greaser vibe than a
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah. They're in my pocket.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm so sorry. They're in my metal case.
Yeah.
Pop open.
Fancy.
It's got a
and
little
it's
clip over it.
Yeah. Pull them out. Pull one out.
Pre-rolled, you light it up under. Take a little puff maybe
Yeah.
and light it up under the fire alarms, and
Bombs away.
yeah, the sprinklers activate and start showering throughout the entire exhibit. And you start to hear some weird sounds coming from where the woman was pointing back behind that tank, starting to emerge. It's kind of a low, gravelly, rock slide kind of a sound.
I start to approach, but I look directly, like, at my feet.
Okay.
Like I'm just walking towards the sound.
Is there, real quick, can I take a look and see if there's anything to, like, capture this thing with? Like ropes, encasement, another display.
That, some of you might have gear on you from different, I mean, you are monster hunters, so you are prepped of like some ropes and some bindings and stuff that you would have. In terms of in the area, you've got those temporary gates, the fencing type stuff. You can kind of unspool one of those and use that to wrap around.
Mhm.
It'd be improvised materials.
Okay.
Do you approach towards the, you said Wilder, you're starting to walk forward, but eyes
Yeah.
down.
Yep, just looking at my feet.
Okay. And you see not rocky, craggy, baskless feet, but you just see humanoid feet, just someone standing there. You start to gently raise your vision up and you see someone frozen up against the glass. And you see in their throat this, they're an average weighted person for their height and build, but they've got this massive throat that is just pushing out and
And the
seems
person's
very
not frozen?
abnormal, and they are frozen.
They are frozen.
And you can see that even though the water, the sprinkler is now raining over the body, you can see the skin has dried and is starting to crack, and their entire body is kind of just shriveling.
I'm gonna read a bad situation.
Okay.
It's a pretty bad situation.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's an 8.
Okay.
Plus anything?
That's minus.
Mhm. That's still a mixed success, so you
Yeah.
get a hold 1, so you get to ask me one question.
What's the best way to protect the victims? Or like nobody asked that, so
I don't think there's any way to protect him at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a man pushed up against the.
what have I not, like, what dangers have we, like, because we don't know where the basilisks are yet. We see,
You're kind of understanding that perhaps this wasn't the mama. The fact that you got a little small vibe of what the monster was fearing. You see the throat continue to expand, and from it bursts forward a little tiny baby basilisk that bursts through the jaw and throat of this poor man pushed up against the glass,
that's horrific.
falling onto the ground a bit roly-poly-like, just curled up, and then falls down. There's this little tiny
Right in front of
basilisk
us?
right in front of you, but you see as it was expanding in the man's throat, and now the sprinkler's expanding, it starts to rapidly grow, sprinting through adolescence into teenage years. And
Is there anything we can do to stop it? Like, can I throw my jacket on it or something? Oh, I guess it's too big
We
now.
probably don't want
I was
to
gonna
make
say-
it scare, like,
Yeah.
be scared of us.
I mean, it's already scared.
at this point, it's skittering across the ground and just rolling around in the water across the
Do
floor.
you have a net, or you said your jacket? I was gonna say, let's just throw
Yeah.
its jacket, throw something.
How big is it now? Because
Yeah.
adolescent-wise, I'm assuming it's still decent.
In the throat, it was probably the size of like a football as it popped out. At this point, it's watermelon growing up to.
Okay, then yeah, let's throw the jacket.
Yeah,
on
throwing the
it.
jacket over it.
Well, we
That's, I guess,
a
actually
big
sustain
watermelon.
It, yeah, sustain it down so that it's gonna be scared, but
Okay. I'm gonna call this a kick some ass move.
Okay.
I'll help.
Okay, go ahead and roll a help out action as well, and add your cool. And then for the kick some ass, you get to roll your tough.
okay.
I
So
can't.
that's 2. And that's plus 0. So
Okay.
I don't think.
I don't think the help out will,
helping
out will
because
not
it only
succeed.
had a +1. So unfortunately, as you move towards this little baby basilisk, you're looking right at it. It peeks a look right up at you, and you suffer 2 harm.
Oh, I don't freeze though.
Well, you start to feel your body lock up into place. Your muscles start to tense and strain and hurt, but you are still able to move. However, if you get past
Right.
3 or 4 harm, something else might change. But for now, you just feel yourself intense pain rocket through your body. All your muscles are tensed up and in pain, and
And then I look away, and does that go away, or do I still feel it?
you still feel the pain. You feel the tension, but you're no longer looking right at it. Yeah.
One thing I'm gonna do then, real quick, since I'm already half dying.
Mhm.
I do have a knife that would be perfect for grabbing some blood.
I was just about to, yeah.
Would you guys like to take that just in case?
I also have a
I've
knife.
only got I've got 2 guns and a bat.
Unless you guys have a knife.
I have a knife.
Okay, so we're good.
Also, I was gonna say, there's no saving this guy with his throat.
Oh no.
Oh no,
Torn
he's
out.
dead. He's been dead.
I would also.
So that's one casualty.
I would also like to kick some ass, but only to nick the baby just a little bit with
Okay.
my knife.
So the roll kind of determined how well you're able to angle the shot without harming it too much. Kind of an idea.
Yeah.
A non-lethal
And
approach.
then I don't know if you'll let me do this, but one of my moves is the big whammy, where I can use my powers to kick some ass. And
Okay.
do my weird roll.
Yeah.
So if there's any way that
So instead of tough, you can use weird,
Mhm.
and then you can flavor how you'd like to use the dagger based on
Yeah.
your powers.
Awesome. Because I think I just want to be I want to use my powers to be a little more quick.
Okay.
That's my thing. Just doesn't really seem to eat.
Nice.
And that'll be enough blood.
That's
Yeah,
what
see?
I'm hoping.
That's-
That is a 7.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is a mixed success. Yeah. You are able to. Are you going in with the dagger yourself, or using telekinetic type thing, or are you up with the dagger up to the creature?
I'm the dagger up to the creature.
'Kay.
I'm going for its tail.
Okay.
Almost. So
Is there any way for me to help at all?
it wouldn't help me.
I don't think it passed the threshold.
Yeah.
So you got
Okay.
the mixed success. So you take the knife, and I'll say you're going non-lethal best you can, but this is a little tiny creature. It's
Oh.
still forming. So you cut the tail, but you chop it clean off.
Okay.
It is in the lizard family. It may grow back. Who knows?
But to be fair,
Yeah.
that's probably
So-
actually better for us anyway.
So you actually see, as you cut the tail off, you have it kind of still within around in your hand, blood kind of coming out of it that you are trying to keep and harvest because you've got this lead that it can be an antidote.
I'm just gonna pick it up and rub it on Gerald's face, just.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, since I have the expertise in this, I do grab the tail from her and start running over to the lady that we left
Okay.
to at least get her out of here.
So you rub the blood smattering onto Gerald, and you feel the relief on your muscles start to relax and tension, and you go forward and you start running off. And you even still see that the little basilisk left there is rapidly growing and actually healing, with the water just constantly spraying over its tail, a little nub like Deadpool, or
Was
kind of.
it was in pain though.
Yeah, it felt pain
Okay,
because
felt pain.
it took a wound, but it didn't necessarily. It didn't kill it, as
Yeah.
it was your intention, and so it's rapidly healing.
Then
Okay.
again, does Phil know about the baby?
He
Yeah,
might
he knows.
I mean,
Well, he doesn't know it's born yet.
Mm.
do
We
we
can
want
just be
to
like,
do we want to
He
take
was
the
born
risk and
that way.
just
That's
kill
what
it?
I'm curious about,
I-
because we can see that it still is going to do damage and harm.
Yeah, and we've tried capturing it. We can't.
Try capturing it.
but we could put it in Tupperware, and we could keep
Keep
it.
it
I don't
Tupperware.
let's have Tupperware.
We could find some. No, I'm joking.
At this
Um,
point,
looking at, like,
the little baby
storage.
is one of those little dinosaur egg things that you put in the water, and they'd expand
Yes.
into the dinosaur shape.
But
Just keep it in a little
my
Tupperware
thing
bin.
is that we haven't found Mama. And if we show up
Okay.
if we haven't found Mama with a baby corpse,
Yeah,
I don't think that will end very
that's
well
a good
for
way
us.
to getting Mama's attention.
That is, yeah.
Kill the baby to enrage the mother.
And then would have to kill the mom at that point, though. Probably.
Yeah, but if we kill the baby, we enrage Mommy, and
Mm.
Mommy kills us.
Yeah. No, we got it.
In the meantime, though, Gerald, you run off with the tail
Right.
and you splatter some of the blood onto the woman and back even into the other room, splatter on. It's not an instant as it was with
Oh.
you, but they do start moving, they start breathing, their pulse
Can they
returns
hear
to
me?
normal. They become
Okay.
responsive.
Then I do tell them, once you are recovered, get the hell out of here.
Okay. They seem to acknowledge that and have that intent, and so you rapidly do that and rejoin the group as you're debating kind of what to do with this baby, as it's now probably, I don't know,
Not a baby.
what's a good dog comparison?
Great Dane.
Not quite Great Dane yet. Like I'd say Golden Retriever, Lab,
Okay.
just an average
Okay.
middle-sized dog at this point.
Okay.
Okay, Gerald, because Phil would still be in that area, right?
As you went through that area, he was not still standing there.
Okay.
And the sprinklers are running throughout the whole building, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it has spread around. In the interest of time,
Right.
would you want to keep the baby alive or try to damage it? You want to try to capture it?
I
I
want the
think we
baby
should,
alive
yes.
at
Okay.
Yeah, we
least.
could
At the-
definitely. That's what I've been trying to figure
Well-
out. I want to find something to cover it and to keep it contained.
Well, it was just born, and what do babies do when they're first born? They
Wanna
try to
find
go
their
find their mom. So
Yeah.
we should just follow the baby.
Okay. So you do just that, and
Yeah.
you see that
Smart.
where the baby actually came from, you see kind of broken through the doorway where it first came in, it starts going back through there. And you see it kind of dips down a bit. It's kind of like an amusement park. They've got underground access tunnels for maintenance and stuff. And it follows along and actually leads to the maintenance office where Phil's main office is. And
Mhm.
you see that there is a hose that has been led into the office. Water is just constantly spilling out from the room. You enter in and find the wonderful sight of Phil becoming a midwife. Currently there with the mama basilisk, using the hose to keep it alive, keep it from drying out, and helping to pop these little embryos
So
out.
I'm gonna take my knife and cut the hose where we're at so that he
Okay.
no longer has access to that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
pinch it
fuck,
off,
what
give it a
the fuck?
quick cut,
Yeah.
and he like, what the hell? And just turns around, sees you all there at the door with you holding the hose, throwing it behind you. Yeah, seems a bit perturbed by your guys' entrance, but what would your intent be? To try and keep the mom alive? Keep the births going? It seems as though the process of birth is damaging to the mother. The mother is giving her own life form to the babies, and so throughout this process, she's kind of going through a natural death.
Okay.
However, if you were to let her dry out, it seems like she might return to the petrified state herself.
Because Joan does not care about this exhibit. She doesn't care about getting.
She just doesn't want
She
bad
just
press.
doesn't want bad press. Okay.
Phil,
Yeah,
you can't keep her here, buddy.
but she's mine. I found
No,
her.
and that's fine. See, I just need her gone from here.
Okay,
So we need to let her dry out again. She needs to go back to being a fossil.
but she needs water for,
But
Yeah.
she came back, didn't she?
I guess.
I'm saying you need to take her to an actual lake. This isn't good for her. She needs to die out in nature,
Is there
not
a
in a
lake?
weird maintenance room.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, Bear Lake is still
Okay, Bear
still
Lake's
around,
okay.
and so the Great Salt Lake is fucked, but Bear Lake is fine.
Yeah.
Does Mama Basilisk seem hostile at all?
She seems
And she's
kind of.
starting
She
to
seems
freeze
docile.
up now,
She's
right?
lying down on her side, like she's going through the process of giving birth and also this natural death process of
Okay.
how they work. Kind of like a wolf
That's
spider where they carry all the babies on their
Yeah,
back.
I'm
Like she's
assuming
kind
her
of.
back is to us, right? Because that's where the embryos were.
That was my next
Essentially, yeah.
question. Is this like, are they popping out of the crystals like daisies, or
Not
are
that
they...
fast. Like Phil was kind of using targeted water hosing off a crystal at a time, and then that would pop out an
Okay.
embryo. But it seems like there was the one that you saw that's now rolling around in the Harmony
Uh-huh.
River, and one other that's currently rather small.
One other, and then how many more
Yeah.
possibly coming out?
Several dozen.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Yeah.
How easy would it be to
Like
steal
2
one?
dozen, not several dozen, but like 2 dozen.
Yeah, I
What
was
was
gonna
it?
say we
How
need
easy
to.
would it be to steal one? Like
There's-
just me.
There's currently a little tiny guy just sitting at the bottom of the Harmony River, just basking, just trying to get a little shower going on.
Like is there an egg? Like a embryo that hasn't
Yeah.
that's
That hasn't
still
some more of the crystal.
crystallized?
Yeah, on the tail, like on the tail, there's smaller and smaller crystals from the back. So if you could go over there and try to break one off.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can do that one.
Nice.
I wanna like
Party pet.
I'd be
I was
just
about
like
to say.
go over to Phil and be like, look at her, she's like dying, and like
Mm.
petting her, she needs to be in nature, and then
Yeah. So you casually keep Phil distracted and you break off a piece successfully and
Yeah, I love
kind of
it.
pocket it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I'm all for preserving life and natural death and birth and all this, but one, its natural habitat is destroyed. There's really nothing we can do for this poor creature except for just let it either one, die or return to being a fossil.
I totally agree. My thing is more of just like, if she dies here, there's like 20 babies that we have to deal with. If she dies out there, that's somebody else's problem.
I'm all down for that.
Are the eggs, like, can we tell that they're alive?
Yeah,
Or-
it seems like in general, this creature needs water to survive.
Okay.
Even though it is a rock and made of salt, it's kind of contradictory, but like, that's what it becomes. It becomes a rock and salt if it doesn't have water. That's its lifeblood.
Uh-huh.
And so, if you take that away, it will probably just return to that petrified state it was in.
And
The babies will
couple
stay embryos.
dozen- Yeah, the couple dozen embryos, they're good right now because their
Yeah.
water source has gotten cut off.
Yeah, because Phil was like taking the hose and just holding over one salt crystal until it popped out, and then
Uh-huh.
so because he cut off his water line, that's no longer happening. So they still seem frozen and safe.
Okay, so then maybe we just take the eggs, keep them safe, take them to where? To headquarters,
'Cause the-
essentially.
Yeah.
Parents are already dead. Yeah. Okay.
Mama's not making it.
I think
I mean, I can call the agency, I think, and ask
Yeah.
them if they can do that. Is that something that they have? I assume.
Yeah,
Okay.
you give me a call and
Yeah. So yeah, I'm dealing with the agency.
Mhm.
Basically, I'm just like, hey, look, we've dealt with the original problem. The big monster's dead. That being said, it was pregnant. We got a couple dozen embryos here.
oh, lovely.
We've done our part. Would you mind sending someone to pick them up? Do you want us to take them to you? How do we go about this from here?
We've got a capture and retrieve team that we can send out, and so seems like a mission well done. The museum, all the people seem to be safe and taken
I
care of,
mean,
out of
one
danger.
except for that one guy.
We are
Okay.
going to need some damage control.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mention there's one casualty.
All right.
And
Wasn't
I'm
our
so
fault.
sorry. I feel like we keep going back. Only one egg has.
There's a couple
Two have hatched.
Two have hatched.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
we know where
The one that
is.
you were following, and
Where's
then
the other one? Do
the
we
other
know?
one
The
was in the
little
little
He was
the
the one
Harmony
that you were
River
like, do you
fountain.
want to take it?
Okay,
Yeah.
so then
Oh,
we're
okay.
all in the room.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All are
okay,
accounted
yeah.
for.
I'm making sure that the door is closed. We're keeping an eye on the two
Yeah.
little ones and Phil.
Okay. He's
I'm like,
he's been
Phil?
there just like
Phil, go into the
He's
corner.
been like petting one of the babies.
No,
absolutely.
Yeah.
cradling in his hands. You're so precious.
What do we do about Phil though?
I think Phil, once we get all the babies, we let her refossilize and Phil can go on a nice long vacation somewhere far, far
So,
away to deal with whatever she is.
Well, if she's a fossil and she's already dead.
He's
She's
just
not
now
dead
a
yet
father.
though, right? All her babies aren't born. She's
Well-
not dead, she's dying.
She will. It seems like she will die if she keeps giving birth. If we
Okay.
fossilize her though and maybe remove the embryos, then
And then you take her
That
That sounds like a
across
you
state
problem.
lines.
All right.
That's what I was thinking.
all right.
Is
Yeah.
we fossilize her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Take the embryos that we can.
I'll keep this little fella as well if that's okay.
No.
No?
No.
All right. I'll keep just the mama.
And Phil, I guess I'm kind of confused here. Like if you look at it, you're frozen, you're dead. Like you're aware of the risks here before.
Yeah, I kind of realized that when I saw the two tourists
Right.
kind of get
Okay.
frozen.
And you're still good with this.
I mean, I didn't think that far in the future when I
can
started
tell.
hooking up the water line, but
Did you know that hooking up the water line would
Well,
petrify
You
it?
figured it out
I-
after the pipe.
yeah, and you kind of look around in his office, and he's got a bunch of books of research. Like this is his passion project, and so he put the pieces
Okay.
together of water seemed to revitalize her, And so he's just trial and error. I'll try to sprinkle her with water, keep her alive. That caused one of the embryos to hatch, and he just didn't think of the consequences. He was in keep this creature alive mode and unleash little babies out into the world.
Since we're coming to the executive decision is that we're repetrifying the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We take the babies.
If we're in like an office, right? Can I look around and see if there's like a space heater?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's fall time. Winter is
Oh,
approaching, and Phil's an older gentleman. He's got a space heater under his desk for his legs that get cold because
Is
the
there
draft
also-
is always there.
Is there also like an AC control unit in that room, or
Yeah.
You can turn that up?
It would be like not just that room, but general area and
Okay.
stuff. And so yeah, you can
Yeah.
put a space heater
I'm gonna
up.
grab the space heater, turn it on.
Yeah.
Blast. And just kind of hold it and like I'm blow drying this thing.
Yeah.
This is not what they tell you monster hunting is when you first sign up.
Yeah. So you guys, for the interest of time, repetrify the mother. You keep the little embryo that you've got stashed away into your pocket.
Does anybody else know that I have it?
Yeah, can I like do a perception check to see if she snagged that?
Like, does anybody know
I
that
don't really
stole
care.
one?
I think it'd be plus sharp.
Read
Just
a bad
like-
situation.
Read a bad situation.
Bad situation.
That's what
Okay.
I was
That is
thinking.
what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this a bad thing for Wilder to have and keep?
Yeah. 8.
8. So yeah, I think you do notice it of.
But do you care?
Not necessarily.
Awesome.
Oh, real quick, how old are you?
20.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that makes okay.
All right. And we've known each other a while, right?
You've been
I'd
on
say
some
6
missions and
months.
jobs together.
I trust you.
Thank you.
I'm not. I clocked that you grabbed it. I'm not saying this.
Awesome.
I mean, what you guys do when you're off that?
I mean, it easily
I
could
clock
be
in,
your
I clock
problem.
out.
As long as it doesn't. As long as it doesn't.
That means I'm getting paid for another job. You know?
Like rain.
There you go.
You step outside and rain clouds
Plus
form over the
Plus a
museum.
basilisk could come in handy in the future.
Good.
We just need
Here's
to
a
buy
question.
a really good pair of sunglasses.
So, like, if I put it in, like, a small Tupperware container and fill it with a little bit of water, would it just grow to the size of the Tupperware container?
Is it like a bonsai tree, or is it like?
Is it like an animal?
Make sure to poke holes in it so it can breathe.
I mean, the main dilemma is it needs water to live.
You just
Otherwise,
put
it'll
boil
become
it in
petrified, and so.
You know, like, if I just get it a little aquarium.
Oh, this is
They
like
grow to
future.
they grow to they grow to the
Yeah.
size of their living environment.
Like a gold
kind of
fish.
thing.
That's
So you can
all
keep
I
it alive
need.
with constant water,
like
but
hot
it
water
can.
balance. It's always going. It's like growing in the freezer.
Yeah. 1 year at a time.
Oh, cold water stream.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys called in the reinforcements. They come in to help take care of the rest of the problem. You guys get your nice paycheck.
Can
You.
we talk to Joan to get our bonus?
Yeah, Joan works out with the officials, and you get that 50% bump up in pay.
Yeah.
Gerald pockets 25% of that, lets you to split the other 25%, perhaps.
I did the
That's fine.
negotiating.
I would
Yeah.
do myself.
I
I have a
deserve
basilisk.
it. I did so much work. You know?
But yeah, job well done. Cycle of life continues. Whether it's not an extinction, there's chance for life to continue on. Whether that's a helpful or safe life to continue on, we'll see in the future. But for now, the crisis is over. The Emporium is safe. Joan has some legal problems to deal with. She couldn't avoid entirely, but as best she
That's not
could.
our fault.
Yeah, she'll deal with it. Phil is happy to have had this experience, to have become a midwife, and to have this wonderful experience. And you all get a nice paycheck and successful mission. Hope that was fun and entertaining. It was a rather
That's
short
great,
and simple
yeah.
adventure, so I hope it was
It was a
still.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and call the session there. Thank you all for listening and joining. I hope the chaos made sense and followed the little theater of mind that we had. A little bit of fumbling around on rules and things, but that's why we're playing, so we can
Yeah.
learn and kind of continue on. So
Make sure to follow our socials with GeekWave. We got TikTok, Instagram. Make sure to check out our website if you're curious in games, movie reviews, anime reviews, stuff like that.
And that's where you'll see most of Jackson and Caitlin's work. And again, to kind of shout out Portia_J for your shop and stuff. You've got commissions and things going on. So
I love character design. Give me your craziest characters. Let's bring them to life.
cool. So thank you all for joining. Thanks for listening. This was again Poor Unfortunate Roles with GeekWave, and we'll see you next time.